Alright, so this video is going to be about 8 fundamental contexts of reality that are always relevant and are incredibly subtle. These are things that they're always there, but because they're always there, they're really, really hard to identify and hard to see. I put them in order. There's 8 of them, and it was hard to put them in order because they are interrelated, interconnected, the process, and they're all one thing, really. So there was disregard the order, but there is some, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense at least. In order to understand, in order to appreciate the value in this video, you need to understand what context is. Now, say this little notebook here. Context is not the meaning inside of this. It's not any meaning that is here, right? Context is the meaning that is outside of this notebook that completely changes how you see the notebook. For example, if I said this was my notebook that I carry around every day, it's different than if this was my sister's notebook that I stole from under her bed. See, it's much, much different. So these are nothing like that. They are the fundamental contexts of all reality. These are profound, and to even think about them is just so... You would have to have gone so deep. So let's begin. The first fundamental context of reality is source. What I mean by this is if you were to think about and contemplate the ever-present source of existence itself. This is the ultimate context of all reality. I'm not going to go really into depth on this here, but it's that thing that all religions point to, that all spirituality is kind of pointing at. That's what I mean by this first fundamental context of reality. And it's interesting because no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, it's always there. Always. When you're sleeping, when you're awake, when you're 10,000 miles away, does not matter. This is why these are so profound. This second one is value. What I mean by value, this is an interesting one. What is relevant? What is important for you right now, and for you always, and for me, and for other people? It's a very personal thing, value, that it's almost so close to you that it's difficult to identify. You can notice where the value is simply by looking at where your locus of attention goes. See, if you ever meditate, you'll sit there and your mind will go to all of these different places. Places being a metaphor. It will have all these different concepts and ideas and words and little stories that'll loop in your head. These are close to where the value is. You will be able to identify what the value is in these stories, loops, thoughts, words, etc. It'll become apparent. Value changes constantly. But what is valuable? Where is the value? This is a fundamental context of reality that you cannot escape. Because no matter what you are doing, basically in essence what you are saying is that you are determining that the context of reality is that the value is on this thing. If I read a book, the value is in the book. If I'm out talking with friends, the value is with talking with friends, or whatever topic we're talking about. You see? No matter what you do, it determines what the value is. So where your mind goes. Okay. This third one, needs. These are your biological needs. And see, it's easy to see how they are all related. Because when we go back to the second one, the value, are you determining what is valuable, or is your biology determining what is valuable? And it's kind of a give or take. It's a little bit of both. If you really go deep about this. So what are needs? Needs, I mean, that's everything from barometric pressure, gravity, sustenance, other people, all of those kind of things that are the necessary requirements for life to exist, for this physical body to exist. Okay? So this is going on constantly. So your need for food, your need for water, your need for security, your need for safety, all of these different things. You can look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or you can just sit there and your body will tell you. Your body will usually tell you. Some of them are a little bit more subtle, but your body will usually tell you. This fourth one, ego. What is ego? Ego is a tool that helps you navigate and interact with the world. And you can't escape it. If you're existing in this world, then you kind of have an ego. You have to. Ego is not a bad thing. It's helpful. But ego is very subtle, and ego is very deceptive. Here's why. Okay. The fifth context is death. So basically what happens is the ego, you have to understand, this isn't content that's easily debated. This is context. These are assumptions that are foundational to existence. All right? So, what happens is your ego thinks that it is the source of life and of existence itself. And because it's been around since you were born, it's kind of hard to prove that it isn't. There's so much proof, seeming proof. The ego takes ownership. The ego is identification. I am this. Ooh, that is mine. Identification. Complex equivalences. So, when you think that you're the source of existence, then if you were to stop, you were to die, existence would stop. And of course, most people value existence because they're still breathing. So obviously existence has a lot of value. Okay. Next one here. Intention. What are you trying to do? And this just gets deeper and deeper. What are you trying to do? Right? And it goes back to what is valuable. So after you've gotten your biological needs kind of out of the way, what are you trying to do? And this is something that you need to be constantly monitoring for the sole purpose of that it changes without you knowing it. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Different things with your ego being offended or whatever, or just priorities will change, the value in a certain situation, and your intention will change. But you need to be constantly monitoring it, because if you don't, your intention will be something that is not valuable or is not relevant. For example, your intention will be to prove somebody wrong, or your intention will be to get one over on somebody. And these, you have to realize you have to look at your intention with the lens of value and see, is this relevant? Is this what I really want? Intention. So there's that intention. Then we have meaning. And this isn't just like, this is this, and if I do that, then this will happen. Complex equivalences and cause and effect statements. It is that. It is also deeper. Very, very much deeper. These are the fundamental questions that people have asked throughout the ages because they are constantly relevant. They are the context of existence. These are the questions such as, who am I? What am I doing? Where did we come from? Where did I come from? Where are we going? Where am I going? These are deep. These are deep. You can't escape them. You can't escape them because no matter what you do, you're in essence answering the questions. If you live your life just as a factory worker, maybe you have a nice family or whatever, and you completely ignore those questions, you've still answered those questions. You've answered them. You are a factory worker. Maybe you're a slave to your biological drives and to your senses. Where are you going? You're going to work. Where'd you come from? You came from birth. You can answer these in so many different ways, but you have to answer them. You have to. It's how we understand reality. Okay. Then we go even deeper. Now this is so related to meaning, but it's also very, very different. Assumptions. Your assumptions of everything. Of everything. Now, it's just so profound and so deep, I almost don't even know where to start. Right? You look at somebody, and before you even go up and talk to them, you've already made assumptions about who they are, what they're doing, their emotional state, where they came from, who they are, all of this, what their social status level is. These are things that biological we are constantly monitoring. And assumptions are so deep and ingrained in the mind. And the problem with assumptions, and the reason that it is separate from meaning, is because of how tricky it is. The very nature of assumptions is that they are assumptions, and that you can't grasp them. Because they're assumptions. They're presupposed. They're deeper. And it's like meaning will build and build and build, and you'll be up here looking at where the value is, and it's really difficult to look at the fundamental assumptions that are holding everything up. And when you consider these 8 different sources that I put: source, value, needs, ego, death, intention, meaning, and assumptions, you'll begin to see that they are actually all very, very interconnected. That they almost all deal with source. Everything deals with assumptions. Everything deals with ego. You can't separate these things. You're always gonna die. You always have some intention. Even if you don't have any intention, then your intention is not to have any intention. There's always some meaning placed on the world. Even people who lose their memory, they still place meaning on the world. Are trying to survive. That's what ego is for, by the way. I don't know. Didn't say that. There you go.